I want to talk about false narratives and the notion that Donald Trump is having this moment where everybody is excited about him, that he's suddenly ahead and is likely to win the election in November. I'm going to wave a false flag here because, to be clear, yes, he's in the media a lot. Obviously, there was an assassination attempt upon his life that failed. The bullet grazed his ear. It didn't go through his ear as he initially said it did, create a bit of drama, always make things worse than they are. But, he got away with his life, which is a very serious thing. I personally think it was a mistake for the Democrats to withhold all of their electioneering and advertising and TV ads and the things, criticizing Donald Trump. I think that is a very kind of old school protocol, a traditional way of handling things. Donald Trump remains an existential threat to American democracy. And he didn't die, he escaped death, and we need to continue as if that is the case, because he is otherwise going to be celebrated as some kind of martyr, as he has been at the Republican National Convention. And to talk about the National Convention is also very important because the timing of it happening just 2 days after the attempted assassination is another reason why it feels like there's all this momentum for Donald Trump. And so the political class and those kind of corporate media journalists are now kind of getting very excited that Trump is actually more popular than he is. But he isn't, because these two events, the attempted assassination and the RNC, are not going to cause more people to vote for Donald Trump. If anything, fewer people might vote for Donald Trump because of the way he's handled this situation. And I think it's important to credit Americans with, a better understanding of human nature and instinct. And so, in my opinion, as a result of these two events, whilst this week might feel like Trump is all-powerful and has this, huge movement behind him. And of course, the appointment of J.D. Vance, who is a very dangerous Christian nationalist, the type of person who is directly behind Project 2025 and, wants a national abortion ban and it says some of the weirdest things about humanity. He really is, a very dangerous individual. And as I said in a previous video, he presents very well. He knows how to do up a tie and wear a crisp shirt. And I think a lot of people see that and they think he must be smart. He must be successful. And, the guy is a venture capitalist, who worked out in California. It's not all what you think with people like him. And I believe that the difference between him and Donald Trump is that Donald Trump will say anything and will, just read off the prompts like Ron Burgundy. But J.D. Vance actually has these very extreme far-right opinions. And in terms of the two of them together, I think it's a very dangerous combination because Trump will listen to Vance because he thinks that Vance is, a bit of a celebrity and Trump is drawn to celebrities like flies to turds. And so the energy associated with three things happening now. It's the attempted assassination followed by the RNC event and then the announcement of J.D. Vance. The whole thing has caused the corporate media to jump on these stories and give all the headlines to Trump and how he's, escaped death. And then, of course, you've got all the MAGA Republicans going out there and really trying to kind of surrogate for him, including one congressperson from Florida who has experience in the military as a sniper and went on CNN and actually tried to sow a conspiracy theory that there's no way that this assassination attempt was not a setup. He said it's impossible that there could be such a failing of the Secret Service, and so he started to sow doubt, and he's doing that on purpose because all of these MAGA Republicans, all of their operations are designed to sow doubt, cause confusion, muddy the narrative, and sadly, CNN fell for it.
You know, it almost seems to me, and I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others. You know, I look back at it and I'm thinking, all right, for an individual, if you looked at the escalations and how they are trying to approach him, let's just say that it was like, okay, first we want to censor and silence you, then we want to indict and imprison you. Now we're attempting to kill you and take you off the stage.
Let's slow down.
Please.
I'm hearing two things from you. I don't want to jump ahead of things, but I'm also hearing you jumping ahead of things.
Well, actually, I'm just looking at all the different possible capabilities. You know, one of the things as a military member, one of the things as a person who's run in the special operations communities before, one of the people who's actually done this is that you look at all potential analysis, right?
I just want to interrupt myself for a moment to ask you to support me and independent journalism by becoming a member of this YouTube channel. Click join just below. It starts at just $3 a month, and it would be really helpful because at the moment things have never been more complex and more dangerous with the rise of fascism and the fall of US democracy. So I'm going to do my best to put these messages and this analysis out every single day, but I really need your help to do that. If you don't want to join the YouTube channel and you're already on Patreon, you can sign up for my Patreon as well at patreon.com/5minutenews. Thank you. So let's talk about Joe Biden, because there was a poll out suggesting that 2/3 of Democrats want him to step down. Again, don't ask Democrats. They're not experts. The experts should be the one making these decisions. And, I speak as somebody who's worked in politics. I've trained politicians for these TV debates. I've been involved in strategy and speech writing. And I recognize that Joe Biden is still the only Democrat candidate that Republicans will vote for. He looks like a Republican. They think of him as a moderate, not as an extreme progressive or as a loony left liberal. He's an old white guy, and that is very important because there is a very large percentage of Republicans who won't vote for Trump, but they will vote for Joe Biden. And let's not underestimate how he makes that leap, that connection. And they won't vote for a new, seemingly progressive candidate. They don't think of Biden as a progressive. And so, with his experience and his track record, I still think that he is a safe bet, despite being 81, having the stutter, and clearly not being as agile as Donald Trump is. So these are two very kind of different issues. And I fear that if Democrats now decide or have a plan to change the candidate and switch him out for somebody else, in fact, switch Kamala Harris out as well, because I tend to think that, they come as a pair. I think that would be very dangerous for Democrats. And it might feel like they're doing something, and you might feel like, oh, well, they have to do something. And I'm saying, no, just wait. Because the temperature, as Joe Biden says, bring the temperature down. All the heat is on Donald Trump at the moment, this week, and J.D. Vance, because of the assassination attempt, the announcement, and the Republican National Convention. So all the press is covering that, and this week is going to feel very different to 4 weeks' time. Anything can happen between now and November. And, people get caught up in the moment, and then the media drive narratives, and they just, they cover the biggest stories rather than the most important stories. And that's what I think we have to focus on. What is the most important thing? Who can actually beat Donald Trump? Well, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris together, combined with their young, diverse, energized cabinet, and getting everybody on board, making sure that, the Democrats are speaking with one voice and with unity, because if everybody is behind those two on the ticket, I absolutely believe that they will win, potentially in a landslide. Nobody wants fascism. Nobody wants Christian nationalism. Nobody wants extremism. Nobody wants the hatred that Donald Trump spews every day. The abuse and the negativity. Nobody wants that. And more importantly, women want access to abortion. I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.